and welcome back to the online learning session. Today we are going to revise chapter 1 of geography, resources. Let us quickly see the topics which we are going to cover in this lesson. Students will be learning about human-made resources along with examples. Then we'll learn about human resource along with examples. Then we'll come to learn about conserving resources, and in this topic of conserving resources we will learn conservation of resources, sustainable development, and some methods of conservation. Now students, I would like you to have a look at this picture. When you have a look at this picture, you see different images. Now what are these images all about? Let us first of all try to identify these images. This is number one, money or currency. Electric bulb, train, flyover, musical instruments. Now these two pictures correspond to automobiles, devices, computer, clothes, electrical appliances, ship, furnitures, aircrafts, and government offices and buildings. Now students, let's have a question here. Do you find anything common among all these images? Yes, there is a common aspect among all these images. Objects in all these images have been made by humans. And since human beings use all these kinds of resources, that is why these resources are termed as human-made resources. Now students, it's very well clear that all those objects, all those substances, all those things which are converted into some useful things, into some useful resources, are known as human-made resources. Let's move ahead and see that natural substances become resources only after their original form has been changed. This is what we were actually talking about. Let us get back to this image and we'll try and figure out this very aspect. Now I would like you to focus on this image, dear students. In this image you will come to see furnitures like chair, table, etc. Now let us get back. I just want you to remember this image. Now let us get back to this sentence. Now natural substances become resources only after their original form has changed. Now what was the original form of that furniture? Let us consider table and chair. It was a tree in the forest or elsewhere. Now when humans entered the forest, they cut the trees, they collected the logs, they brought it to their factories, and there, after processing those logs of wood actually, they were converted into different kinds of furniture, for example table, chair, etc., even your pencil. So students, people make use of natural resources, make of natural resources to manufacture human-made resources. This is what we have come to learn from this slide. Now let us have a look at a few examples of resources. Human-made resources are buildings, bridges, roads, machinery and vehicles, which we have already seen in this picture. Another good example is technology, which is benefiting us the most in the present time. Students, let us learn one more term, stock of resource. So students, as you can see, it's already written there, it's the amount of resources available for use. So the key word here is amount. Basically this word amount corresponds to the stock. For example, it was a period of lockdown and most of you might not have your stationery properly. By stationery I intend to mean notebooks of the school. So if you did not have your notebooks in proper amount, it meant what? It meant that you do not have a proper stock of your resource. You did not have a proper stock of resource at a certain point of time after you bought all those notebooks, and now you have all the notebooks for each subject, it can be readily said that you have a good stock of notebooks, and notebooks here serve as a resource. So I hope this is clear. Let us move ahead. Now students, we are going to learn about human resource. Students, I just want you to do one thing here. Just try to separate these two words. Alright. Now this word becomes human and this becomes resource, as you can easily see. Now when you attach the human aspect with that of resources, it becomes human resource. It's that very simple and easy. Like, it refers to the number and abilities. It refers to the number, which means quantity, and ability, which means quality, that is mental and physical, of the people. That is why human beings are a special resource. So people here are considered as human resources. Now how do a simple human turn into a resource? How does a human turn into a human resource? For that, let us come to point 4. Improving the quality of people's skills so that they are able to create more resources. Now when we improve the quality of people's skills, when people are educated, when people are trained, when people are properly skilled, then they turn into resources. Alright. Now when they turn into resources, they are able to create more resources like them, and this is what is known as human resource development. Alright. So what are the things which we have studied here? We have studied the aspects of human resources, that is the quality, the skill, the education and the training a human undergoes in order to become a human resource. Since everything on this earth, almost, you see all the resources, even if you come to this image and if you see all the resources in the image, were somehow converted into resources by the humans. These were raw materials before getting converted into finished goods. So it was only due to the skills, due to the abilities of the people, of the human beings, that natural things were able to get converted into resources. Let us take an example of this train. This train is made up of a major amount of iron. Now iron was found and is found as iron ores. We can't use iron ore directly for manufacturing different kinds of goods. So what do we actually do? Humans bring those iron ore into factories. There the iron ore gets processed, and after getting processed, iron becomes iron and steel, and after that iron and steel are used to manufacture these kinds of items. Alright. So I hope this one is also clear. Let us move ahead. Now these are some aspects which are related to human resources, which you can easily summarize while learning human resources. Alright. So what all are human resources related to? It's related to proper recruiting, performance, it involves training, research, potential and leadership. So all these characteristics are the characteristics of human resources, and human resources do possess these characteristics, and they also, while training different people, different human beings, try to transmit all these characteristics into other human beings. Let us move ahead. Another pictogram for you people to go through. Now students, having studied about human resources, let us try to identify these human resources. There are a few images, and I would like you people to identify these people and to also describe how do they serve as human resources. Students, in the picture number 1, here we can see there's a police officer, there's an IPS officer, usually responsible for maintaining the law and order of the city or of the area he is employed into. Then we have teachers. Of course, we all know that without teachers we would have not reached the place where we are today. Doctors. students, I would like you people to comment, to explain and to describe what is the role of doctor as a human resource. The situation is that of a pandemic going on right now, so I would like you people to take it as an exercise and explain. Now here we see district magistrate of a district. By the way, he is Kumar Ravi, and he is the district magistrate of Patna. Now these people are responsible for maintaining the law and order of the city, and these people are also responsible for the overall administration. Alright, whatever the decisions right now are being taken in different kinds of zones, you may have already come across different kinds of zones like containment zones, hotspots. Now it is up to these people, district magistrate, to identify the regions which have been converted into hotspots or containment zones and to look after its proper administration. So these are very, very important people who are serving in our society and the country as human resources. Now students, we come to learning about one of the very, very important topics of this chapter and one of the very important issues ongoing in the world as well. So right now we are going to learn about conserving resources. First of all, we should ask a question: why should we conserve resource? Let's try to learn. Students, if we are not careful, then even renewable resources can become very, very scarce, and the non-renewable ones can definitely be exhausted. For example, while we were having a discussion on the lesson plan 1, the material 1 of this chapter, a few of you commented that wildlife, trees, soil are also renewable resources. But my dear students, if we do not protect soil, if we keep on over exploiting the soil, number one. Number two, if we do not protect our wildlife, hunting and poaching is going on around the world, so we should stop all those hunting and poaching. So being renewable resources, all these resources can also become scarce if we do not pay due attention towards conservation of these resources. Number one. And the non-renewable ones, since we have a limited stock, very, very limited stocks, because these resources took millions of years to form. They are in the earth's crust in different layers. So therefore non-renewable ones are definitely going to be exhausted. So let's come to the answer. When we come to the answer, we see we do not want to run short of resources. That is why we need to conserve them. We cannot survive without resources, without proper resources. That is why we need to conserve resources. Now let's have a question here. What is conservation? So using resources carefully, pick the keywords here, using resources carefully and giving them time to get renewed is called resource conservation. Now students, when we use resources carefully and when we give them time to get renewed, then we let the resources get conserved. Then we conserve our resources, and this is how we conserve our resources. Let us take an example of a piggy bank. Now you all may have a piggy bank in your house, and you also may be habituated of keeping coins in your piggy bank. Now if you start taking out those coins out of your piggy bank and do not put more coins in that bank, you are likely to run out of money in a very short span of time. Are you getting me? Let me repeat. Let us consider a piggy bank. You are saving a lot of money, you are saving a lot of coins in that piggy bank. When you need, you also take out a few coins. But if we keep on taking out the coins, we are going to run short and even run out of coins at a certain point of time, very soon. So we need to conserve our money in the piggy bank at that point of time. And what we need to do for that, we need to keep on refilling our piggy bank with money, be it paper or coin. Alright, so this is how we should use our resources very, very carefully, number one, and we should also give them time to renew naturally in nature. So this is what we know as conservation. Now let's come to another very important topic, that is sustainable development. Now there is a direct question, what is sustainable development? We have already learned one of the basic points of sustainable development in point number 1. Now we'll try to learn and define what is sustainable development. So students, carefully utilizing resources so that besides meeting the requirements of the present, let us underline this line, requirements of the present, it also takes care of future generations. This is what is known as sustainable development. When you utilize resources in such a way that you fulfill your present needs and you also care for the coming generation, the future generations who are about to come and about to utilize the resources which are left by you people today. Only then all these resources can sustain in this world for long. Sustain here, you can understand, it means survive, exist on this planet Earth. So this is what is known as sustainable development. Now, what are the basic means of conserving resources? We can contribute by reducing our consumption, my dear students. Let me just give you a very, very easy and a very, very common example. If you want to eat 2 chapatis, for your meal, why would you likely go for 4 or 5 chapatis? For example, if you are in a restaurant and you are having your dinner there, so if you have a hunger which only requires 2 chapatis, then it doesn't make any sense if you order 5 chapatis and you leave 3 of them. All those 3 of them get wasted. That is why we should reduce our consumption and we should only consume, we should only utilize as per our needs, not as per our greed. Alright, so today we need to define our need. Next, we come down to learning about recycling. You should recycle different materials and you should also use different materials. For example, plastic bottles. A very good example of converting plastic bottles into vase. They cut the bottle into 2 halves and you can use it as vase, which is today being widely used in vertical gardening and hydroponics as well. Now students, we come to the end of the chapter, and a few methods for conservation of resources is what we are going to learn. Alright, so therefore students, we are required to ensure that all uses of renewable resources are sustainable. Alright, we have already learned here the diversity of life on the earth is conserved. That is when we were studying about the diversity of flora and fauna, the natural vegetation and the wildlife which we are supposed to conserve, and the damage to the natural environmental system is minimized. Alright, now students, I would like to take the last point and try to connect you to this point. While you come from home to the school and when you cross 0 mile, as you enter Pahadi, you will see a lot of dumping grounds, a lot of wastelands. So students, we easily see that the damage to the natural environmental system is huge, is grand, on a massive scale. So is that what going to lead us to sustainable development? A cleaner environment, a greener environment? No, that is not. So this is what the point 3rd says here, that the natural environmental system the extent up to which it is damaged must be minimized. All right. So students, here we come to the end of the chapter.